Hey, I'll be home in about 10 minutes. Actually, make it 8.
Hey, Mom. Yep, I'm walking home now. Mom, I'm trying to cross, but I don't think this driver sees me. No, they're driving too fast. Mom!
Speeding catches up with you. Early, on time, a little late, just get there safely. A message from the Florida Department of Transportation's Target Zero initiative.
Looking for an exciting, fun-filled evening the whole group can enjoy? Discover the thrill of indoor football. It's fast-paced, action-packed, and full of family fun. Get out of the heat and into the arena and enjoy Hawaiian night with the Sharks as they battle the Iowa Barnstormers. Saturday, July 18th. Kickoff at 7 and tickets start at just $15. Grab your flip-flops and favorite Hawaiian shirt and check out the amazing fire dancers at halftime. Bringing the whole crew? Try family packs. Get 4 tickets and $50 in food or merchandise vouchers, all for only $100. Go on the field after the game for the free autograph session sponsored by Flight Adventure Park. Get tickets or find out more at jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. 904-621-0700. Sharks football, where memories are made. Go Sharks!
This is the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
I-9 Sports is year-round. Fun for kids 3 and up. From North Jacksonville to Fleming Island, Neptune Beach to Orange Park, I-9 Sports makes it convenient for you with their 1-day-per-week commitment with practice before the game. It's easy to fit it into your schedule. Log on to i9sports.com and register now for fall and winter. Flag football, hoops, baseball, soccer, volleyball, and multi-sport. There's something for every youngster in North Florida. Fall and winter registration open right now at i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount.
Hey gang, Prosser here. The Open Championship is upon us. And you know, you think of the Open, you think of the weather, you think of maybe a hoodie. Nah, it's not the exact same kind of hoodie you will need at the Open, but the hoodie collection at Live Forever Golf is outstanding. I've become a hoodie guy. The lightweight, they make them a bunch of different ways right now. The Practice Clubhouse hoodie tee is salt washed, makes it butter soft. For that and everything else golf related, it's Live Forever Golf and liveforevergolf.com.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I'm Jared Justice with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by Awaken 180. Athlon Sports has picked Florida's home games against Ole Miss and Oklahoma as among the most dangerous trap games in all of college football this season. ESPN's Bill Barnwell has scored Trevor Lawrence's trade value as 2 first-round picks. Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. were rated as first-rounders as well. Spain and Argentina kick off Sunday. 1010XL has World Cup updates all day. It's 84 degrees at 6 o'clock time and temp. Brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Thursday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Jared Justice. The Hacker Ryan Green with you, in for Rick Ballou tonight. Glad you are with us. A Thursday that finds us one day closer to Jaguar training camp. We are now, inside of 2 weeks away, right, from Jaguar training camp. Next Wednesday, July the 29th, or I guess 2 Wednesdays from now. Wednesday, July 29th will be the first practice. The rookies for the Jaguars. They report a week from Saturday. The veterans come in on the 28th. And again, practice, Miller Electric Center on the 29th. In fact, I believe Carolina and Arizona, they report to training camp inside of a week because they're in the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. And the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio is 3 weeks from tonight. August the 6th is the first NFL preseason game of the year. We got ACC kickoff up in Charlotte. That concludes tomorrow. We got SEC Media Days in Tampa that begins next week. So there is a ton going on in both college and the National Football League. We will certainly spend a lot of time on both tonight. Also, our NFC South preview wraps up. We've already made stops in Atlanta, in Tampa, and in New Orleans tonight. We will end with the defending NFC South champion, the Carolina Panthers. Devin Lloyd's new home. Mike Kay of the Charlotte Observer will stop by to talk Carolina Panthers, and that will wrap up 7 of the 8 divisions. This will be the 28th team we have previewed going back for the last 2 months. I'm on vacation next week, and then the week of Jaguar training camp, beginning Monday night, July the 27th, we will round it out with stops in Houston, Tennessee, Indianapolis, and then, of course, right here with your Jacksonville Jaguars. So I mentioned Mike Kay of the Charlotte Observer. Really looking forward to the conversation with David Steele. David Steele, over 50 years in the broadcasting business. He was the voice of the Florida Gators for most of the 1980s. 1989, he left the University of Florida to take a job as the play-by-play man with then the expansion Orlando Magic. And he has been the guy in Orlando for the last 37 years, whether it's Sunshine Network, Sun Sports, Bally Sports, the FanDuel Sports Network. They've gone through a lot of names, but regardless of the name of the network, David Steele has been the man on the microphone. He has announced his retirement earlier this week on Tuesday after 37 years as the Orlando Magic play-by-play man. So I'll have David Steele on towards the top of the 7 o'clock hour tonight, and we'll go down memory lane. I mean, it was a big chance that David Steele took in leaving the play-by-play job at the University of Florida to then go to an expansion NBA team in Orlando. Obviously, 37 years later, it worked out pretty well for him. But we will talk with David Steele coming up tonight towards the top of the 7 o'clock hour. Speaking of Steele, another Steele. How about Phil Steele of the Phil Steele Preseason College Football Magazine, the best preseason magazine, I think, going, and has been so for years. Over 370 pages of information. We'll talk with Phil Steele about Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Miami, and more. And that conversation comes up in less than 20 minutes. So we're absolutely loaded. We're glad you're with us on a Thursday. Again, a little Hacker After Dark, Before Dark tonight, and for Rick Ballou. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Jared Justice, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No, because it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Well, first and foremost, it's always a big deal of the night when you give us the honor and the privilege of listening to our program. And we certainly appreciate it every single night here on Hacker After Dark. And we do like to give back to the hardworking men and women of Northeast Florida. And here we are at 6:06 Eastern Standard Time on Thursday night, July the 16th. And I have been informed that we have a family 4-pack of tickets to give away to the Jacksonville Axemen, the rugby, coming up this Saturday night. If you want to go see the Axemen, Jared, who are they taking on? I know you have the paper in there. It's going to be a big battle. The Axemen and who?
The Sarasota Bull Sharks.
You throw out the records right out the window. When the Bull Sharks roll into Jacksonville, the Axemen, the Bull Sharks, rugby here in town. all kidding aside, I've been to numerous Axemen games over the years. They are outstanding. It is fun to watch. Physicality. You can grab a beverage or two if you're so inclined. If you want to go check out the Axemen, be caller 4 right now. 904-641-1010. 904-641-1010. The Sarasota Bull Sharks. Well, you got to be careful when you say that. You don't want to slip up on that one. The Bull Sharks against the Jacksonville Axemen. Caller 4 right now, 904-641-1010. And you will be off to rugby this Saturday night here in the city of Jacksonville. Big deal of the night. Because I'm on vacation starting in about an hour and 52 minutes, and I will not return until Monday night, July 27th, which will be basically on the doorstep of Jaguar training camp. It's crazy to me that this offseason is over, right? I mean, it's over. I remember like yesterday, the Jaguars losing to the Buffalo Bills, and that fifth quarter that night, what was it, January 11th, I think? That fifth quarter that night was, well, it was depressing having you guys call in because the season ended so quickly. Right? It just ended so abruptly. Everything we thought was right in front of us. And Jacksonville did not play terribly in that Buffalo game. They played well. I mean, you have 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns led by Trevor Lawrence to give your team the lead, including one with 4 minutes to go. And to Josh Allen's credit, he put the Superman cape on, and the Jaguars couldn't stop him, and the season abruptly ended. And when that season ended back in January, 6 months ago now, boy, we had a lot of questions. We had a lot of questions. What was the future of Anthony Campanile and Grant Udinski? What about Devin Lloyd and Travis Etienne, who were going to become free agents? Would the Jaguars re-sign guys like Dennis Gardeck and Buster Brown? Even guys like Dewey Wingard, we didn't know at the time, right? What was the draft going to look like? How many free agents were they going to bring in? And if you take everything over the last 6 months, boy, it's been quite the ride. There have been some ups and there have been some downs. I mean, it started really well with Udinski and Campanile coming back. We had nightly updates here. Every other show on 1010 did the same thing. I mean, Udinski was on a world tour. He was certainly in play in Cleveland. Then we found out he was in play in Buffalo. Campanile interviewed in both Miami and Baltimore before becoming what is believed to be a finalist for the Arizona job. So just take that in and of itself. Your 2 coordinators, after only 1 year as coordinators, had a combined 5 head coaching interviews. 5. And yet both guys came back to Jacksonville. It didn't work out for whatever reason, and both guys are back now for year number 2. That's vital. Man, that is vital. To have those 2 back with Liam Cohen, obviously with James Gladstone, with Tony Baselli, that is vital. So that was certainly an up for the Jaguar offseason. You could argue a down was losing Devin Lloyd and Etienne. I mean, there's no mistaking the fact that arguably, right, your best defensive player in 2025 left to go to the Carolina Panthers. Arguably. And outside of Trevor Lawrence, you could argue that your best offensive player, non-quarterback, left to go to the New Orleans Saints. Those were a couple of gut punches, right? For me in particular, because I enjoyed talking to Devin Lloyd for years and years. Devin was unbelievably good to all of us in the media here in Jacksonville. I'm a fan of Devin Lloyd, so I hated to see him go. ETN, or HN, I guess, is how he's pronouncing it now, how we maybe should have been pronouncing it for the last 5 years. Once New Orleans got to the $13 or $14 million range, you knew that wasn't going to happen. So those were a couple of gut punches. But then you think about the guys they did re-sign. Go back before the season even ended to Jacoby Myers and Cole Van Lannon, getting those done before free agency even got here. And then you bring back Dennis Gardeck. You bring back Quentin Morris. You bring back Monteric Brown. You get Trayvon Walker done on a contract extension. You get Brenton Strange done on a contract extension. A lot of ups. That's why, again, when I see NFL.com giving the Jaguars an F for the offseason, and when I see CBSSports.com ranking Jacksonville 32 out of 32 among NFL off seasons, yeah, you lost Lloyd and Etienne. Okay. An off-ball linebacker who wasn't even projected to be maybe a starter 12 months ago, and Etienne, who albeit had a great year, but I think most people thought that once that number got to 13 million, that was a pipe dream. He was never coming back. I don't get the negativity nationally towards the Jaguars because you got Trayvon Walker done long-term. You got Brenton Strange done long-term. You got Buster Brown done long-term. Jacoby Myers long-term. Cole Van Lannon long-term. You re-up Dennis Gardeck. You re-up Quentin Morris. I think that's terrific work by James Gladstone. I do. Again, I'm not trying to be ultra-positive Jaguar guy. I'm just telling you how I feel. And I feel that's terrific work by the Jaguar GM to accomplish all of that in one offseason. And then we get to the draft. Oh, boy. And the consensus boards and the Jaguars weren't listening to all the websites and all the talking heads. And, boy, they just got lambasted because, you know, all these draft analysts say you can't take Borkature in round 2 and you can't take Regis in round 3. And what are you doing taking Jalen Husky in the top 100? And on and on and on and on. And it was across the board, man. It was everybody that follows the draft was down or really down on the Jaguar draft. We'll see come September and October. Again, the interesting thing about that is of the 10 guys the Jaguars drafted, I mean, honestly, think about this. Of the 10 that the Jaguars drafted, not one of them is going to be relied on to be a starter this year, barring injury. Borkature and Koziel obviously are behind Brenton Strange. Pregnon, he's going to battle, right, with Macari probably, or Cleveland, but I don't think he's going to overtake either one. Regis, it's got Devon Hamilton in front of him, got Eric Armstead, Matt Dickerson, Arroyo, who they traded for. That was another move this offseason. Jalen Husky's not going to find playing time in that secondary unless he wows the coaches or injuries happen. My point is, the Jaguars roster is so good and so deep, in my opinion, that you draft 10 guys, and of the 10, not one of them is going to be counted on for any real significant playing time, barring either an injury or barring them just looking outstanding in camp and you can't keep them off the field, which would be a great problem to have. I'm rooting for the Jaguar rookie class. I am. Because they got raked over the coals by any draft analyst you would talk to. And we talked to a bunch of them post-draft. Let me rewind back to free agency. Maybe the most quiet free agent period that Jacksonville's ever had. And I mean that. Outside of Chris Rodriguez, who again is, I mean, no offense, but he was not a top-tier free agent. I don't think I'm breaking any news there. He was a second-tier free agent. I like him. I like the fit. But the Jaguars did not go out and make splash after splash after splash. And again, I also think that weighs in on why people didn't like their offseason. Because they didn't sign the big-name guy for big money. Probably because they thought and felt they didn't need to. Because they like the makeup of their roster. And then you get into rookie minicamp. You get into OTAs. You get into veteran minicamp. We saw the reemergence of Brian Thomas Jr., Trevor Lawrence out there doing his thing. And now we all take a deep breath, right, over these last 5 or 6 weeks. A deep breath. And we're on the doorstep of training camp. It has been a wild 6 months. Again, some ups, some downs, but I am fascinated to see what happens when training camp begins on July 29th. I think it has been an interesting offseason, to say the least. You get Travis Hunter back. You get Jordan Lewis back. And I believe this is a Jaguar football team. As I told you guys earlier this week, this Jaguar football team, to me, is going to be the first Jaguar football team in over a quarter century to go back-to-back in the playoffs. The Jaguars haven't gone back-to-back seasons in the playoffs since 1998, 1999. They have a chance to do it, a good chance to do it here in 2026. And I hope they do accomplish that. And now let's get to the college side of things. ACC kickoff going on right now up in Charlotte. Excuse me, that'll end tomorrow. SEC Media Days in Tampa kicks off on Monday. Obviously, that'll be John Summerall's first SEC Media Days as the head coach of the Florida Gators. Gators are bringing with them Miles Graham, Jaden Ball, and Vernell Brown, I believe, are the three, which is interesting because those are 3 of the 5 that Gator fans were worried about leaving after Billy Napier got fired. Throw in Dallas Wilson and Jaden Woods as well. And yet John Summerall was able to keep all of them. How about this for a crazy stat, too? Again, Phil Steele of the Phil Steele Preseason College Football Magazine coming up in less than 10 minutes. How about this for a crazy stat to go into that interview with? 16 SEC teams. You want to know where we are in today's college football? 16 SEC teams have a combined 523 transfers coming into 2026. That is outrageous. That's where we are. Arkansas leads the pack with 48 guys out of the transfer portal. 48! I think Florida's number was 32. The average among the 16 teams is roughly 32 or 33. But yeah, you want to know where college football is today? 16 SEC teams, a combined 523 transfers as we kick off the 2026 season. Wild, wild times. It's the best preseason magazine out there. It has been for a long time, in my opinion. This is year 32 of the Phil Steele Preseason College Football Magazine. Let's talk Florida. Let's talk Florida State, a little Georgia, a little Miami, and more with Phil Steele, and that's next on a Thursday night here in Northeast Florida. Jacksonville, we're with you till 8 o'clock. We're glad you're with us on Hacker After Dark.
That's why I came up with this little beauty.
What is it?
It's
1010XL.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Hey, it's Brent with Arcosa Crushed Concrete. If you've got concrete or asphalt rubble on your site, let me buy it from you, and I will recycle it into construction material for your future projects. Arcosa Crushed Concrete. Get paid for what you don't need.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Summer air should feel fresh, not full of dust, allergens, or whatever winter left behind in your vents. Your air ducts, they're the lungs of your home. And if they're dirty, you're breathing it in every day. That's where Zero Res comes in. Hicken here, backed by over thousands of Google reviews and a 4.9 out of 5.0 rating. This month only take $75 off your air duct cleaning. cleaner air, better efficiency, a fresher home. Call 287-5727 or visit ZeroResJacksonville.com and ask for the 1010XL special.
Registration is now open for the Alive Credit Union Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament. Over $300,000 in cash prizes across all tournaments July 11th through 18th, including a 28-foot contender in the Kingfish Tournament or a huge cash payout in the Beach Tournament. The Redfish Tournament is back too. Lady and junior anglers are always welcome, and spectators can enjoy exhibits, food, and kids' activities all week. Register at kingfishtournament.com.
Hey ladies, guess what's happening at Best Bet Jacksonville?
The Ladies International Poker Series?
You know it. The LIP Series returns to Best Bet Jacksonville July 31st to August 2nd for a weekend full of poker excitement.
And the weekend kicks off with the Lips Roundup on Friday, a Q&A with Linda Johnson and Jan Fisher on Saturday morning, and then the cards go in the air at 1 p.m. for the Lips Championship.
Don't forget, the guys are invited to play in the Kings and Queens event on Sunday at 1. Details at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
America's turning 250, and Superior Fence and Rail is celebrating in true red, white, and blue style. For a limited time, save $250 on your new fence. Give your home the freedom, security, and curb appeal it deserves. Celebrate America with a fence built to last. Offer valid on new contracts for 100 linear feet or more. Cannot be combined with other offers.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a social media manager.
Did you just post our Q4 earnings to your personal social media?
Oh, yeah. Used the trending audio and everything.
That's confidential financial data.
Relax. It only went a little viral.
The SEC just commented with the eyeball watching emoji.
This is the job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
College football fans, I'm Greg McGarity, President and CEO of the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl. Don't miss your last chance to watch college football in Jacksonville before the stadium is renovated. The SEC and ACC face off in Everbank Stadium for this year's TaxSlayer Gator Bowl Wednesday, December 30th at 11:30 a.m. A perfect buy for family stocking stuffers. Act now and get a sizzling summer special of 4 tickets for $100 at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com. TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. We have entered the month of July. That means we have college football. Next month, Media Days is underway. The Big 12 Media Day is actually going on this week. SEC Media Days just 2 short weeks away. But to me, the unofficial kickoff for college football season is when I get to talk to Phil Steele. He of the Phil Steele Preseason College Football Magazine. Over 370 pages this year of information. It's the best preseason magazine every single year. And Phil is always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Phil, how we doing?
You know, I am doing great, Ryan. How about yourself?
Phil, we're doing so well. Thank you for joining me as always this time of year. I know how busy you are. And let's talk about this year's magazine. It's the best one every year. Boy, what year is this for you with the magazine?
It's year number 32. So I started when I was 5 years old. So, you know, I'll just make it. But, you know, I do feel this is the biggest and best one, 376 pages. And the reason I feel it's the best is we didn't have that second spring portal window this year. So I was able to actually have rosters at March and have them through and then get to coach all the coaches' interviews, talk to 133 of the 138 coaching staffs out there. So it really was an outstanding spring for us.
We're going to talk Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Miami, and more. But, Phil, for the good folks here in Jacksonville, if they want to get their hands on your college football preseason magazine, what's the best route in order to do that?
Well, if you're out driving around, the two best places to go, and only two places to go, are Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. Those are the only two brick-and-mortar stores that have the magazine. Every place else does not, so save your gas money. Just Barnes & Noble and Books A Million are the only two places that have the magazine. Or you can go to philsteele.com. And when you go to philsteele.com, you can order the magazine. We'll ship it to you. You'll get it in 3 to 5 days. But you also get access to our digital magazine, $19.95 value, absolutely free. And we update the digital all the way through the start of the season. So Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, philsteele.com, 376 pages. Ryan, I feel like it's getting like you're getting 138 media guides rolled into one. How do you feel?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely the case. I love it every single year. And like you said, 376 pages. It is a college football fan's dream in the preseason. And Phil, let's dive into the local teams. Let's begin with Florida and new head coach Jon Sumrall. And I got to tell you, from a team coming off a 4-8 campaign, a team that lost to South Florida at home last year, fires their head coach midseason. There wasn't a lot of excitement coming into this offseason, particularly after losing out on Lane Kiffin. But they hired Jon Sumrall, and I think very quickly he has put a lot of excitement back in this Gator fan base.
Yeah, and I think it was a great hire. In fact, Jon Sumrall's a guy that's on the rise. Talked to him 2 years at Troy, and both years at Troy, he got his team coming off 3 straight losing seasons into the conference championship game. Then he goes to Tulane, 2 seasons, 2 conference championship games, 4 for 4, trying to make it 5 for 5. Now, I'll say this. I thought Billy Napier did a good job recruiting talent. There's plenty of talent on hand. He brought some good talent in, and he brings in offensive coordinator Buster Faulkner this year, coming over from Georgia Tech. He brings quarterback Aaron Philo with him, Eric Singleton, a wide receiver who had nearly 1,000 yards for him. So I think they're going to be in good shape offensively. How quickly that offensive line comes together could be the key. Defensively, plenty of talent throughout. They do lose a lot off the defensive line, but I like the replacements. I think Brendan Bett and Jaden Woods are a couple of guys up front that are NFL caliber, and then Miles Graham and Aaron Charles at the linebacker spot. So there's a lot to like about Florida, talent football-wise, scheme-wise, and coaching-wise. But just like they did under Coach Napier, they've got a tough schedule this year. They have to play, you look at the home games this year, they've got Oklahoma, which is a game that could potentially be an underdog in at home. Ole Miss, another tough game at home. And then playing teams like Auburn, Missouri, Texas, Georgia, and Florida State all the way from home. A tough schedule, but I really like the hire of Sumrall, and I like the overall talent Florida has.
Phil Steele of the Preseason College Football Magazine with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. You mentioned Aaron Philo, Tramel Jones also in that quarterback mix, the depth of Florida as well. And I'll agree with you. They did sustain some losses on the D-line, but I'll give Sumrall an immense amount of credit. When he comes in, having to replace Billy Napier, in this day and age of the transfer portal, Phil, and you're able to convince stars like Vernell Brown, Dallas Wilson, Jaden Baugh, Miles Graham, and Jaden Woods to all come back to Florida, I think that was a really good job by Jon Sumrall.
Yeah, excellent job. You know, Jaden Baugh is a guy that really impressed me last year. First running back to top 1,000 yards here since 2015. And then, as you mentioned, Brown and Wilson at wide receiver, dynamic combination. I think retaining the players is huge, as much as bringing in players. But I think retaining your stars like that was a phenomenal step.
Certainly some excitement for Florida in Gainesville. Let's go over to the state capitol in Tallahassee. Phil, I wouldn't use the word excitement around these parts. A lot of Florida State fans are very lukewarm on the Noles. Now, look, Mike Norvell has proven that he can obviously win at the highest level. They should have been in the playoff a few years ago. But when you're 7-17 in the last 2 years, and when you haven't won a road game in over 2 years at Florida State University, that is pretty unacceptable. So I'm not sure if there's a bigger hot seat in America than what Mike Norvell has in Tallahassee right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's no doubt Coach Norvell is on the hot seat. And I think, though, if you take a look at last year, this is a team that was better than their 5-7 record. They opened up the year with that impressive win over Alabama, blew out their next 2 opponents by 143-13 edge. We're 3-0, number 7 in the country. Then they had an overtime loss, a 6-point loss, a 3-point loss, a 7-point loss. ended up going 5-6, and of course the abysmal final game of the season when they lost to Florida ended up 5-7. Now Norvell's got some talent to work with this year. I like Ashton Daniels to pick up at the quarterback spot, coming over from Auburn, coming over from Stanford, the two places he's been. They've got a couple of offensive linemen that could be NFL caliber, and Nate Pabst, who comes in from Bowling Green. Xavier Chaplin comes in from Auburn. And defensively, I think they got some talent there. Schedule, they play actually the toughest schedule in the ACC this year. In fact, I rate 4 teams in the ACC as the top teams. That would be Miami, Clemson, SMU, and Louisville. They're the only team in the ACC that has to play all 4 of them. So schedule maker didn't do Mike Norvell any favors, but I do think they have a shot at getting to a bowl game. I don't think they're an ACC title contender this year, but I do think they have a shot at getting to a bowl game, and Norvell needs at least to do that this year.
Phil Steele of the preseason Phil Steele College Football Magazine. Phil's with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. You mentioned Miami. They were an eyelash away from a national championship a year ago. They did lose a lot, including Carson Beck, but Darian Mensah, the transfer from Duke, has arrived. How do you feel about Mario Cristobal and the Canes coming into the year?
Best talent in the ACC, legitimate national title contender. And my question mark would be the offensive line. They lose a lot on the offensive line. Only have one starter back in Matthew McCoy, an NFL prospect. But Mario Cristobal knows how to build offensive lines. You look at those skill positions. My goodness, bringing in Darian Mensah from Duke, and then his wide receiver, Cooper Barcade, as well. And you add that to a Mark Fletcher at running back, Malachi Toney, a wide receiver. They're absolutely loaded at the skill positions. If the offensive line comes along, and I think it will, then they're going to have an explosive offense. Defensively, I rate the defensive line number 6 in the country, the linebackers number 17, and the DBs number 5. This is a loaded Miami team. The thing that stands out to me, Miami has joined the ACC way back in 2004 and haven't won an ACC title. I'll call for one this year. And they were very close to winning the national title last year. I think they can get back there again. And it's a team that if they get to the playoffs and get into those extra rounds, they'll have the confidence that they can do well. The only game all year I have an underdog is a slight underdog at Notre Dame. So watch out for Miami this year.
Phil, if there's any such thing as a top 5 under-the-radar team, it might be the Georgia Bulldogs heading into the year. Everybody's talking about Texas and Arch Manning, and there's Georgia just kind of doing their thing with Gunnar Stockton returning at the helm. How do you feel about the Dogs coming into 2026?
Yeah, it's sort of a quiet Georgia team, isn't it? But I think it's a Georgia team that's superior to last year's Georgia squad, which won the SEC and then just couldn't overcome that bye week in the playoffs. When you look at Georgia this year, last year my question mark would have been the offensive line, where they had just one returning starter. Is there a better offensive line this year? They've got the size and experience. Gunnar Stockton was a question mark at quarterback last year. Stockton's back. Loved what he did on 4th down and in the fourth quarters last year. The running back core is loaded with Nate Frazier, Chauncey Bowens, Dwight Phillips, and Dante Dowdell coming in from Kentucky. It's my number 6 running back core in the country. And defensively, all 3 units rank in my top 10. They are absolutely loaded. And the thing I love about Georgia, they're one of the homegrown teams. And this year in the magazine, on the Big Ten page, I wrote a article on the homegrown factor, which is teams use the portal, but the majority of their players were recruited by them, brought up by them, developed by them, and are in the same system. It's more of a team atmosphere. And last year, if you look at the teams that were at the top of the homegrown chart, all of them had winning records. The teams at the bottom of the homegrown chart all had losing records. Georgia's one of those teams that's mostly a homegrown team. They have brought in some nice transfers. Khalil Barnes coming in from Clemson was a nice addition. Isaiah Cannon coming in from Georgia Tech, a nice addition. But this is a loaded Georgia team that's my pick to win the SEC this year.
Final moments with Phil Steele. Phil, I want to circle back to both Florida and Florida State in relation to the conference. When you talk about the Gators, we know how loaded the SEC is. We talked about Florida's schedule, year number 1 for John Summerall. How do you assess them in relation to the rest of the teams in the SEC?
Yeah, I think due to the schedule, I have them in the middle of the conference. My power poll, I've got them number 23 in the country. I do not have them ranked at the start of the year, and that's mostly because of the schedule and the transfer portal and the new head coach. But I think this is a very talented Florida team. But for me, the first year for John Summerall, I've got him in the middle of the SEC.
Same question for Florida State. You alluded to the schedule earlier of your top 4 ACC teams coming into the year. Florida State is the only team that has to play all 4 of them. So as you said, the schedule makers did not do the Noles any favors. How do you assess Florida State in relation to the rest of the teams in the conference?
I think they were better than their 5-7 record last year. In fact, they were on the season plus 76 yards per game in league play, which generally translates to 6-2, 7-1, but they were not that last year. So I think they're sneaky. They're under the radar, but I still have middle of the road ACC. In fact, the Vegas over/under on them is 6.5. And I think that's a legitimate number this year. I do think Mike Norvell definitely needs to exceed that 6.5 number. They probably have to pull one upset to get there. To me, the key to Florida State season is going to be week 2 when they play SMU at home on a Monday. Remember what they did last year in a national TV game against Bama. They looked really good. If they can look that good against SMU, they may get the confidence for the rest of the year.
Final moments with Phil Steele of the Phil Steele Preseason College Football Magazine. At the end, we will certainly let you know how you can get your hands on what I feel is the best preseason college football magazine available. Phil, if there is going to be another Indiana this year, a team that people like, but obviously I don't think anybody thought Indiana was going to go 16-0 and win the national championship a year ago, who potentially nationally could be this year's Indiana?
Yeah, and the surprising thing is the name I'm going to toss out is not one that would normally be undervalued, but I think they are being undervalued this year, and that's Alabama. And Alabama is my number 1 surprise team in the country. When you look at the Tide, nobody's going to have them in the top 2 of the SEC, probably not even in the top 3 of the SEC. They definitely will not be in the top 10 at the beginning of the year. But when I look at Bama, I know they have a new quarterback. Well, new quarterbacks did well last year. C.J. Carr at Notre Dame, Julian Sayin of Ohio State, Gunnar Stockton of Georgia, all new first-year starting quarterbacks, all did well. All were up there in the Heisman race. I think whether it's Keelan Russell or Austin Mack that wins a job, they'll be up there. They've got the receiving core. They've got the defense. Love the secondary. I think the offensive line and the run game will be much improved this year. And I think Alabama, everybody's sleeping on this year. So they're my team that I think not in the top 10 has the best shot at getting there.
Phil, the Big Ten has won 3 national championships in a row. Certainly some pressure on the SEC to do something about that, but people seem to love Oregon, Ohio State, even Indiana again. I know Notre Dame's not in the Big Ten, but people seem to love them. Do you think the national champion comes out of the SEC, or are they going to miss out on it for the 4th year in a row?
Well, the possibility always exists. In fact, this year, Ryan, I think there's probably 9 or 10 teams that could easily win the national title. In the magazine, though, and the team I think is the best shot at winning it is Notre Dame. I'm a defensive guy. Notre Dame, in my mind, has the best defense in college football. They also have now veteran quarterback in C.J. Carr. They've got the offensive line, which is my number 1 rated offensive line in the country. I believe they have the running backs. They are losing Love, and they are losing Price from last year, but I think the replacements will do just fine with that offensive line. And then they've got the schedule to really get there. There's only 2 games in my mind that are a question mark, at BYU and home against Miami. I've got them favored in both. And I think once they get to the playoffs, this is a team whose motto this year is leave no doubt. After being left out of the playoffs last year, I think Notre Dame takes home the title. And so that may stop both the streaks of, or may stop the streak of the Big Ten, would be Notre Dame.
Phil, final question. You're a college football encyclopedia. Again, your magazine is spectacular. So I'm just curious your opinion. This might be the last year of the 12-team playoff, and we barely knew you because we might go to 16 or even 24 beginning as early as next year. What's your thought on the expansion of the college football playoff so quickly?
Well, for years I wrote an article in the magazine about a 2-team or about a 4-team playoff being the ideal situation. And I knew we were going to expand. And now that we're expanding, I certainly hope we don't go to 24. I think when you take a look at the FCS playoffs, for example, there was a 2-year span where the 3rd place team in the Colonial Conference was playing for a national title 2 out of 3 years. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see it turn into an injury thing. Remember when Notre Dame played Ohio State? They were down their top offensive lineman, top defensive lineman due to injuries suffered in the playoffs. So you don't want it to become a battle of attrition where you're playing so many games like that. But, it's inevitable that things are going to go up. I hope if they do raise from the 12 that it only goes to 16, but we'll see how it comes out.
376 pages this year in the Phil Steele preseason college football magazine, philsteele.com. Also, you can get it at Books A Million and Barnes & Noble. Phil, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville what they can expect when they get their hands on your magazine.
Yeah, it's like getting 138 media guides rolled into one. You get 2 full pages on every team, and we give you the exact same amount of coverage on a team like Florida International that we do on Florida and Ohio State. You get basically everything you need to know, a 3-deep starting lineup with not just the players' names, but what they've done so far in college. You get the last 5 years' records, complete stats, right up on every single position. It's just loaded with information. In fact, not a lot of white space, not a lot of advertising. And if you're a casual football fan, you'll probably be overwhelmed by the amount of information in there. But I think if you're a football fan, you're going to use this thing not only here in July or in August, but all through September, October, November. It's a great thing to have on your coffee table while you're watching the games because it's, like you said, it's like 138 media guys rolled into one.
And again, you can pick it up at Barnes & Noble, at Books A Million, or Phil, the next best place to go, philsteele.com, correct?
That's correct. Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, the 2 exclusive brick-and-mortar places, or philsteele.com, where you can order the magazine. And when you order it there, you get the digital magazine for free as well.
He's the best in the business, Phil Steele of the Phil Steele preseason college football magazine. Phil, I know how busy you are. Thank you for the time, and we'll talk again soon, pal.
Sounds great, Ryan. Always enjoy it, and you have yourself a great summer, my friend.
Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. On Southside and JTB, for a limited time, Key Buick GMC has marked down select new GMC Sierra 1500 models. Below employee pricing, you pay less than what our employees pay. Plus, at Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us or shop online at keybuickgmc.com. We are professional-grade. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drive time only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
Transmission problems? Call Action Transmission Specialist. I'm Robin, the owner. My team provides expert service, done right the first time on all makes and models, plus a nationwide after warranty for total peace of mind. Action Transmission on Merrill Road. Get traction, call Action.
If you miss an interview, it'll be waiting for you on demand.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Search where you find podcasts.
And at 1010XL.com.
Trained by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods, a Jacksonville family business for nearly 70 years. Heck, I've been talking about them for over a decade. The Thompson family secret, Dandy is never frozen. Always fresh baked bread with quality meats and cheeses. No dry, crumbly subs here, only soft and tasty deliciousness. When I see that logo with the little guy with the cane on the label, it tells me I'm getting a trusted brand and a quality sandwich. So do what I do, stop in at a Circle K and make yours a Dandy today.
You may not be able to control the air you breathe on the outside, but you certainly can on the inside of your home. Just call Florida Home AC and ask about the Remy Halo. It's the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC.
It's Christmas in July at Beard's Diamonds with as much as 40% off everything in the store. Maybe it's time to treat yourself to a fabulous fashion ring, necklace, or bracelet. You can do it now and save as much as 40% off Beard's already unbeatable prices. And don't forget, Beard's is the town center's locally owned diamond superstore. Don't settle for the corporate chain store experience when you can get the value, service, and attention you deserve. Don't miss Christmas in July. Save up to 40% exclusively at Beard's Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center.
Thank you, Jacksonville Magazine readers, for voting Dan the Media Mogul Hicken Best Sports Talk Host. Jaguars Today's Mike Dempsey was a close runner-up. And thanks for voting The Drill with Dan and Jeff Prosser Best Morning Show Radio Team. 1010XL is truly honored.
Hey, I'll be home in about 10 minutes. Actually, make it 8.
Hey, Mom. Yep, I'm walking home now. Mom, I'm trying to cross, but I don't think this driver sees me. No, they're driving too fast. Mom!
Speeding catches up with you. Early
On time, a little late, just get there safely. A message from the Florida Department of Transportation's Target Zero initiative.
I'm Alan Tyre with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners Bill Pappas and Ken Rimley want to thank all of our clients, CPAs, attorneys, bankers, and real estate agents who refer us business every day. If you're ready to purchase, build, or refinance your home, call Trustline Mortgage, your hometown mortgage source since 1989. Call us today at 904-381-LOAN, trustlinemortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Trustline Mortgage, NMLS 331480. Alan Tyre, NMLS 246490. Bill Pappas, NMLS 218443. Ken Remley, NMLS 246445.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. And when warm weather is here, we got to take advantage of it, Greg. What does Honda have, especially for beach weather?
It's riding season. Full line of small motorcycles, scooters, you name it, they've got it. We also have a full line of Vespa scooters in stock and ready to ride to the beach today.
If you log on cyclesofjacksonville.com, they've got it all?
Got it all. Cyclesofjacksonville.com. Come and see us there or on the showroom.
Atlantic and Regency, check out Cycles of Jacksonville.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Thank you to Phil Steele of the preseason Phil Steele College Football Magazine for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. That Phil Steele interview is your cornerstone Interior Solutions interview of the evening. Look, your air conditioner should not have to work overtime this summer. Your insulation, if it is working overtime, well, your insulation may be the problem. Homeowners and builders across Northeast Florida are calling my friends at Cornerstone Interior Solutions to upgrade to spray foam insulation. Spray foam seals homes, crawl spaces, garages, and more, locking in cool air and blocking out heat. So your home stays cooler, your system runs easier, and your energy bills stay under control. The bottom line, efficiency wins, comfort wins, Cornerstone wins. Give my friends at Cornerstone Interior Solutions a phone call, 904-540-4572, or you can check out their website, cornerstoneinteriorsolutions.com. You know, we spent a lot of time with Phil Steele there talking about Florida and certainly a little bit on Florida State. Here's something interesting that Jared brought to my attention earlier today. So Danny Kanell, former Florida State quarterback, is an interesting guy in the world of social media. He's an interesting guy in general. You either like Danny Kanell or you don't like Danny Kanell, and I think that applies for a lot of Florida State fans even too. I don't mind Danny. I've had him on the program numerous times. I think some of what he says is wrong, but I also think some of what he says is accurate, and I don't have a problem with him. I like strong opinions, and he has strong opinions, some of which I agree with, some of which I don't, but I like the opinions nevertheless. So Danny Kanell, I guess this was earlier this week at the ACC kickoff, as a former Florida State alum, was asked about Mike Norvell's job security. And it's the topic on everybody's mind. I mean, when you're 7-17 over the last 2 years at Florida State, that's a problem. When you haven't won a road game in 2 years at Florida State University, that's unthinkable. I mean, that's unthinkable that you haven't won a road game in 2 years. But that's where we are now for Florida State. So Danny Kanell on, I guess this was one of the programs up there for the ACC kickoff in Charlotte, was asked about Mike Norvell's job security. This is what he said, quote, "I don't think there is any pressure whatsoever on Mike Norvell because I think he knows exactly what he has to do. If they don't get to 8 wins, he's fired," Kanell said. Kanell continued, "Mike Norvell is on everybody's hottest seat. Everyone out there looks at Florida State and says if he doesn't get better, if they don't improve, he's done. So from that standpoint, you know exactly what you have to do, and I think that is where Mike Norvell has to respond." That's Danny Kanell saying that, a former Florida State quarterback. And if you agree with him that Florida State and Mike Norvell has to get to 8 wins. All right, well, let's find 8 wins on this schedule real quick. I found 1, New Mexico State. I feel confident about that. I found 2, they play that vaunted Central Arkansas team. I feel pretty confident about that. So they're going to get to 2. Can we get to 8? Are they going to beat SMU in Tallahassee on Labor Day night? They're not going to be the favorites in that game. Are they going to go to Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama? An Alabama team that'll probably be foaming at the mouth to see Florida State based on last year. They host Virginia. And you say, well, Virginia. Well, yeah, I mean, Virginia was in the ACC championship game a year ago. But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll say they get Virginia for 3. I'll get back to SMU and Alabama in a moment. Are they going to go to Louisville and beat the Cardinals in Louisville? Because they haven't won a road game in 2 years. Then they go to Miami. Boy, that'll be fun. Going to see Mario Cristobal and the Canes in South Florida. Then they come home to play Clemson. Boy. Then they have a couple of road games back-to-back at Boston College and at Pitt. Both of those games are in November. You wonder what the weather will be like at BC and at Pitt in the month of November. Then their final home game is North Carolina State, followed by, their final conference home game is against NC State, followed by their final home game of the year against Florida. Boy, you find 8 wins in there. Again, if you want to get to 8, here's what you got to do. New Mexico State and Central Arkansas, that's 2. I'll give you Virginia, I'll give you Boston College, and I'll give you NC State, which I think might be a stretch, but that gets you to 5. Find 3 more wins here. Home against SMU, at Alabama, at Louisville, at Miami, home against Clemson, at Pitt, home against Florida. If he needs to get to 8 wins, which is what Danny Cannell's opinion is, I don't know if you're getting to 8 wins. That's a tough schedule, man. Look, I sometimes badmouth the ACC, but I'll give the ACC some flowers. I think SMU is going to be pretty good. I know Miami is going to be pretty good. Clemson will be Clemson. They'll be good. And then I hear a lot of positive things about Louisville. And Florida State's got to play all 4 of them. Then you got the road game against Alabama, the home game against Florida. This is not the year for Mike Norvell to need to get to 7 or 8 to keep his job with that schedule. Do you agree with that as a Seminole fan? Would 8 be enough? I think it should be enough. I mean, if you tell me Florida State goes 8-4 with that schedule, Mike Norvell's in the conversation for ACC Coach of the Year. Would a bowl game be enough? If they get to 6-6 and go to a bowl game, is that enough? Florida State fan, where are you at as far as your expectations? Hit me up on the text line, 904-641-1010, 904-641-1010, the 1010XL text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. More of your thoughts, more on the world of college football. And let's talk a little play-by-play, a little broadcasting. One of the greats retired earlier this week, my friend David Steele. He's going to join us coming up here in less than 15 minutes. 37 years as the play-by-play man for the Orlando Magic. It's tough to replace guys like that. We'll talk about it next on Hacker After Dark.
Rick Ballou here. DraftKings is live in all 50 states. Yes, that means you, Florida. The Cup is down to its final matches. 1 trophy, 1 champion. DraftKings has you covered for every single one. The DraftKings app is now live in Florida, so whether you're catching the early kickoff before work or the late match at the bar, you are in on every minute, every match, every moment, all in one app right here in Florida, the world's biggest stage in the palm of your hand. New DraftKings customers sign up with the code 1010XL, spend $5 $10 to get $200 in total rewards over 21 days. That's code 1010XL in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click to claim, issued in non-withdrawable. Predictions dollars that expire in 1 year, ends July 19th. Terms dkng.co/predictions promo.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Yeah.
Is everything okay? We heard an awful ruckus.
No, everything's fine here. Yeah, it's great. So you're fine?
Mornings.
Yeah, couldn't be better.
On 1010XL.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Hacker here for Cornerstone Interior Solutions. If your AC is working overtime every summer, your insulation may be the problem. Homeowners and builders across Northeast Florida are calling Cornerstone to upgrade to spray foam insulation. It seals homes, crawl spaces, garages, blocking in cool air and blocking out heat. So your home stays cooler, your system runs easier, and your energy bills stay under control. Don't wait for peak heat. Visit Cornerstone Interior Solutions.com.
A lot of plumbing companies around here, not local anymore. They got bought out. Different owners, different priorities, and you feel it when you call. But not at Superior Plumbing and Pipelining. Superior Plumbing and Pipelining is still locally owned, still right here in Northeast Florida. No call centers, no corporate nonsense, just hardworking pros who show up, fix it right, and stand behind the job. From leaks to full pipe relining, make the superior choice when you need a plumber. Request an estimate at superiorplumbingjacks.com.
Oh, it's a promise made perfect, gang, and it comes from Chad and Sandy. Your home sold guaranteed, or we'll buy it. They have the largest pool of buyers in the area. Their home selling program is designed to maximize your sales price. No long-term contracts, no costly repairs. You're in complete control. You need to sell now. Chad and Sandy have instant offers. Fast, easy, stress-free. And they deliver on this promise. Using their proprietary Market Max system, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they'll buy it. They're the local real estate experts I trust and recommend. No required repairs. Pick your move date. No long-term contracts you can cancel at any time. Marine on Pace Island and Fleming Island. I needed to downsize to a single-story home, but my house in Pace Island had been sitting on the market for 158 days. Heard Chad and Sandy on the radio, gave them a call. Their strategy generated multiple showings. Day 2, my home sold. Full asking price, $449. It can for you, too. Go to chadandsandy.com.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a social media manager.
Did you just post our Q4 earnings to your personal social media?
Oh, yeah. Used the trending audio and everything.
That's confidential financial data.
Relax. It only went a little viral.
The SEC just commented with the eyeball watching emoji.
This is a job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today. 1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Till 8 o'clock. Glad you're with us. A little Hacker After Dark, Before Dark. In for Rick Ballou this week on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Again, Florida State, Florida, Miami, Georgia, college football. We're basically here, right? ACC kickoff ends tomorrow. SEC Media Days next week. And then fall camp begins 2.5 weeks away. Now, granted, you have to go through a few weeks of that before we get to the actual games, but there's a lot to discuss when you get to fall camp, particularly in Gainesville. Aaron Philo versus Tramel Jones. How much of a quarterback competition is there heading into fall camp? I have no doubt that John Summerall will be asked about that next week in Tampa at SEC Media Days. When it comes to Florida State, we know it's going to be Ashton Daniels. They announced that earlier, but how long a leash will Ashton Daniels get? Because there's some guys behind him that have a little bit of playing experience. And plus, Mike Norvell needs to win, man. As we talked about in the last segment, you got former Florida State alums like Danny Cannell saying 8 wins, or else he's probably gone. So, Mike Norvell, you can't wait for Ashton Daniels to deliver. If he's not delivering early in the year, you got to figure something out. Because, again, Florida State starts New Mexico State, but then they go SMU and Alabama back-to-back. We're going to know a ton about the Noles coming up here in the month of September. Some more on college football coming up in just a bit, but I did want to set the table for a conversation I'm about to have with David Steele. David Steele, 50-plus years as a sports broadcaster. Gator fans, you'll remember him as the voice of the Gators in the 1980s. He left the University of Florida in 1989 to take a job with the then expansion Orlando Magic as their main television play-by-play guy. And for the last 37 years, David Steele has been on the call for Orlando Magic games in the days of Shaq and Penny, the days of Dwight Howard and Rashard Lewis and Hedo Turkoglu and Jameer Nelson, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, and now up through Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and the such. 3.5+ decades as the Orlando Magic play-by-play voice. David announced his retirement on Tuesday. I've had David on many times on my show. I'm a big David Steele fan. It's part of my childhood, man. When I grew up watching the Orlando Magic on Sunshine Network, I grew up watching David Steele. Plus, I also grew up watching Breakfast with the Gators on Sunshine Network on Sunday mornings. And, of course, David Steele was the voice of that as well. I'm going to have David on to just basically congratulate him on an unbelievable career. What's next for he and his family? One of my favorites, David Steele, 37 years as the voice of the Orlando Magic, announced his retirement on Tuesday. He joins us next on a Thursday night here in Northeast Florida. We're glad you're with us till 8 o'clock on Hacker After Dark.
There are many ways to experience 1010XL.
The key to this whole thing is their computer.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Get me that computer program.
Yes, sir. At 1010XL, the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
I'm Matt Lennon with AB Signs. Every day, your company vehicle is on the road. Is it bringing you customers? I turn trucks, trailers, and storefronts into powerful advertising. Make your business impossible to miss with AB Signs.
Yeah, I know how awful it is to get injured, but not like my friend Tom, who got rear-ended last year. Tom McManus here. Morgan & Morgan can help you. They're the largest personal injury law firm in the nation. 1,000 lawyers, 100 offices across the nation, and over $30 billion recovered. And guess what? They don't get a single penny unless you do. A proven track record with backup. Hard to find these days, but not with Morgan & Morgan. For the people, that's right. Get injured due to someone's neglect, get paid. Dial pound law or check out forthepeople.com.
I've owned a home long enough to know one thing. The little problems you ignore almost always become the expensive ones. That small plumbing leak, the septic tank you've been meaning to pump, the air conditioner that's making a funny noise. July is the perfect time to take care of it. So right now, save $250 on a whole home re-pipe or re-drain, $50 on any septic service, and $500 on a new AC system from Duck Duck Rooter. Honest service, upfront pricing, no surprises. When you're stuck, call Duck Duck Rooter, 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Celebrate America's birthday all this month with a dozen roses from Kuhn Flowers, only $49.95. Buy any color or color combination. A dozen roses, just $49.95 at Kuhn Flowers this month. KuhnFlowers.com.
Credit card interest rates are now over 29%. Most people are only making the minimum payments, so they're getting nowhere. Hey, Prosser here, but here's what many homeowners don't realize. Using the equity in your home, you can easily access hundreds of thousands in cash. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can pay off your credit card, your existing HELOC, your car loans, or get money for that home improvement project. One client just got $100,000 approved and saved over $1,500 a month. Here's the best part. With Loan Pronto, you can do it all from your phone. With zero out-of-pocket, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long drawn-out bank process, and no touching your first mortgage. Rates are at a near 3-year low. Act now. Go to loanpronto.com. See how much you can get in about 60 seconds. Loan Pronto, 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call 904-999-1508 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Frank Frangie here. 1010XL wants to know who you are. We are conducting a listener profile survey. What home improvement practices do you plan to do? What do you like best about us? All you have to do is go to 1010XL.com and fill out the survey. You could win tickets to the Jags home opener, Gator football, and Jumbo Shrimp tickets, or great 1010 swag. Just go to 1010XL.com and enjoy letting us know more about you so we can do a better job of serving you.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. All eyes on Jaguar training camp that begins in just a couple of weeks. But I know a lot of eyes around the NBA and certainly here in the state of Florida took notice of Orlando on Tuesday as a man that called Orlando Magic games for 37 years since the inception of the franchise, has called it a career. David Steele announced his retirement from the Orlando Magic broadcasting position, a guy I'm certainly going to miss, a guy I've been lucky enough to have on this program many times, and a man I'm lucky enough to have on right now, 2 days after that retirement announcement. David, it's a real honor, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing really well, Ryan. How are you doing?
David, we're good. Thank you so much for the time. I know you've done dozens of these over the last 2 days. What has it meant to you that so many people have enjoyed your work and enjoyed what you've done all over these years and are just paying their gratitude to you right now?
It's really been unbelievable. I did not see it coming. Maybe I should have, because of the 37 years. And I think Ryan, you just go to work, you do the job day after day, season after season, year after year, and you don't really think about some of the things that people have said very kindly over the last couple of days. That I'm the only voice that they've heard, that I'm the voice that they hear when it comes to sports in Orlando or in the Sunshine State. And it really kind of brings it into perspective that it was such a great run, and I'm just thankful that we have great fans and that they're able to express themselves right now.
And obviously it started well before the Orlando Magic. You were the voice of the Florida Gators prior to the Orlando Magic arriving. And I was not old enough to appreciate this. I've had people tell me that was a real chance that you took in leaving that position in Gainesville to go down to Orlando. Obviously, 37 years later, an unbelievable payoff. But speak to that, but going all the way back to 1989 and that decision that you made.
The thing is that it was a tough decision. A lot of prayerful consideration by me and my wife. And the Magic was a new NBA team. It was something brand new. I loved basketball. I love football too, calling football games equally. But it was a combination of a number of things. I had a lot on my plate at Florida beyond the play-by-play. I was coordinating the radio network of better than 80 stations. I was selling the TV shows. Back then there was, and every Sunday morning, like Charlie Pell show, Galen Hall show, all around the state of Florida. I was involved in all of that. I spoke to Gator clubs in the spring and summer with the head coaches flying around the state. So it was a lot. The Magic offered strictly a play-by-play opportunity. And, that's really my first love and what I love doing more than anything else. But, I think if I had stayed at Florida, Ryan, this would have been it would have been 44 years of broadcasting Gator basketball and football, because I don't think I ever would have left there. They were great people. I loved working for the Gators. Still have a lot of friends and go back as often as possible. But it was a tough call. But I think it turned out well for me. I think it turned out really well for Mick Hubert, and so everything's good.
Well, the great thing about it, again, David Steele here with us, is I'm not old enough to remember you calling Florida games. You're the Orlando Magic guy and have been so in my life forever. But I remember Breakfast with the Gators on Sun Sports and all of that. I mean, your career has spanned so many sports, so many genres, so much of that. Just speak to the longevity and everything that you've been able to do during your 37-year career.
Yeah, everybody wants to talk about the Magic, and I understand that. And then, a few remind me of the years with the Gators and have comments about that, which is really nice because those were just 7 sensational seasons and years for us in Gainesville with young children. And my kids they're still all huge Gator fans. But before that, I had a kind of an interesting start. I was out of the University of Georgia. I graduated on a Friday. My wife and I had gotten married in our senior year of college. And this will be our 52nd anniversary in August, by the way. Wow. And we graduated on Friday the 13th in 1975. And on Monday, the 18th of June, it was June 13th, we graduated. June 16th, on Monday, I was on the air in Channel 7 in Panama City, Florida. And that's better than 51 years ago, Ryan. And I've had 4 jobs. I went from there to Asheville, North Carolina as the sports director at Channel 13 and also did Western Carolina play-by-play, and then the Gators and then the Magic. So 4 jobs in 51 years, 37 of them were in Orlando with the Magic. So, it's a lot. And, that's another reason why I just felt like it was time to step aside.
I have a similar story, not to your extent. I've had 3 jobs in now 26 years. Cleaned movie theaters for a year and a half. Cleaned suntanning beds for 2 days until I figured out how gross that was and then quit. And now I've been in sports radio. It'll be 24 years in August for me here in the city of Jacksonville. So I consider myself very fortunate as well. But to your
I'd say you've really had one job.
Probably one job.
I wouldn't start counting. Yeah, you've done well.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate that. But over 5 decades for you. And now let's talk about Orlando. Again, you leave the University of Florida, you take the Orlando Magic gig, and when you think of the Orlando Magic, you think of David Steele. I mean, all the partners you've had, from Sunshine Network to Sun Sports to Bally Sports to the FanDuel Sports Network. Every great moment in Orlando Magic history has your voice behind it. As you've taken time to reflect over the last couple of days since you announced your retirement, what are some of your fondest memories?
I've had more time the last couple of days than I've really even considered giving that much time to thinking about the past. So yeah, there's just been a flood of memories coming back because of the situation. The retirement, the announcement, people texting, calling, interviewing. So I've had to take a look back at it. And what I say is there are just so many. It's hard to pick them out, but the Michael Jordan, Nick Anderson stealing the ball against Michael and the Bulls in 1995 in the second round of the playoffs. Because of the circumstances, because it was Michael. He had just come back from his hiatus away from basketball. Everyone expected the Bulls to win that series and probably win another championship as well. And they were going to win game 1 until Nick poked the ball away from Jordan, and we wound up with a dunk with about 6 seconds left. and stole game one from them, and then went on to win the series. So that was a great game. It was a great play, and I felt like when I listened back to it now, I was definitely locked in on the podcast on the call. So that's one that stands out. And there have been so many others. A Hito Turkoglu inbounds pass from midcourt to Dwight Howard to beat San Antonio. I think it was 2007 maybe. And Tim Duncan was the defender. Dwight went over the top of him and dunked the ball in with 4 tenths of a second left. But a lot of great plays, a lot of great games, and I could probably go on for a long time trying to reminisce about all of it.
One of the great videos that Orlando Magic fans can check out, I think the Magic retweeted it when you did it, was you reenacted the Jordan steal with the Nick Anderson steal with, I believe, your grandchildren, and that was simply spectacular as an Orlando Magic fan. I absolutely love that.
I saw that my wife and I saw that last night. I've been drinking out of a fire hose for 2.5 days, right? And late last night, we were just going through, my wife and I, through some of the stuff, because I really haven't had a chance to go through a lot of what's been out there. And that clip came up, the Magic put it out there, and whoever edited that was genius, because if fans haven't seen it, it's pretty funny. They put the real clip of the real play on the bottom of the screen, and then my kids reenacting the event with my daughter. Michael plays the part of Michael Jordan, by the way, and my son-in-law, who plays Horace Grant. And then the grandkids are involved, and even our pet Golden Doodle is in the shot, and it's pretty funny. That was a COVID reenactment. That was, you got nothing to do. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. The kids were over. We were barbecuing outside, and somebody, I forget, I think it was my daughter, maybe it was my oldest grandson, suggested the idea, and we put it on tape, and it's pretty funny. It's and the clip is really good, the Magic put together.
Final moments with David Steele announcing his retirement after 5 decades in the broadcasting business, including the last 37 years as the voice of the Orlando Magic. David, I want to talk about what's next, but it's bittersweet for me because I'm certainly going to miss you every night on the Magic Call. But I'm thrilled for Dante Marchitelli. I have Dante on a bunch. I know you've worked with Dante for a number of years now. He's going to be your replacement alongside Jeff Turner. And I don't know if the Magic could have chosen a better person than Dante to fill those shoes.
I agree. And, we talked about the games and my great memories of all broadcasting these great games and some outstanding teams and players. But the people that I've been able to work with really makes a huge difference. I'm sure you know this. You haven't been there for 23 plus years or whatever without enjoying a lot of the people that you work with and becoming friends with them. And it's been the case with me. I've got great friends. They're lifelong friends. Dante is one of them. Jeff is my closest friend because it goes way back to 1989 with JT. And we've worked together, for many, many years on the air. But Dante is a very close friend. We've kind of I've been thinking about this for the last few years. Obviously, I'd cut back on road travel. And so Dante has had the opportunity to do some play-by-play. And I think he's just gotten better and better. And now that he's got it all to himself, I think he'll continue to improve and he'll be a great voice for the Magic for many years to come.
David, what's next in your life? Obviously, you mentioned the grandchildren, your children, 37 years with Orlando, 5 decades behind a microphone, and now you get to, I guess, enjoy the family, enjoy life.
Yeah, it's time to give back a little bit. It's when you're career driven, which I was, but to keep things in priority in line with family and those things and faith and things that are most important. And I did, I think, a pretty good job of that. You can always do better than everything, but now I think it's time to give back to my wife of 52 years who sacrificed an awful lot in raising 3 now incredible, outstanding adults, and they've raised 8 marvelous grandchildren. They're all doing really well, thriving in everything that they're doing. So it's time just to take in all of that and be a bigger part of that, and just give back a little bit. So we've got kids up in Tennessee and in Georgia, and then one daughter here with 4 boys. So we'll be bouncing around a lot. And one of them is now a high school athlete in Tennessee, our oldest granddaughter, very good volleyball, basketball player. So we want to catch that this fall and winter and do some traveling and just enjoy life for as long as we can, as long as we're able.
David Steele, 5 decades in the broadcasting business, 37 of which with the Orlando Magic, announces his retirement earlier this week. David, I know how busy you've been over the last 48 to 72 hours. Thank you for taking time out for us in Jacksonville, and we'll hopefully talk soon, pal.
All right, thanks, Ryan. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
This World Cup soccer update is laced up by Valvoline Instant Oil Changes and Houston's Meats.
Westwood One Sports presents this World Soccer Update. Argentina has scored 11 goals so far in the knockout round, and get this, 9 of those goals have come in the 79th minute or later, 6 in stoppage time or extra time. I mean, how do they keep pulling off these heart-stopping comebacks? Well, here's Westwood One soccer analyst Jamie Watson.
Argentina has this belief every time that they step on the field that they are going to win this match, and at no point does that confidence ever waver. I'm watching a team that genuinely believes they can achieve the highest heights. That's just an X factor that you cannot overcome if you're an opponent.
Argentina will go for back-to-back titles Sunday, 3 Eastern against Spain in New Jersey. The third-place match Saturday in Miami, France and England at 5 Eastern. With this 2026 World Soccer Update, I'm Brad Heller, Westwood One Sports.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, really? That's great.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
I can't have any more? Why not?
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Drew McIntyre here from WWE. Wielding the Claymore can be a life of chaos. When I'm not dominating in the ring, Chumba Casino is how this warrior takes a wee break. With hundreds of online social games and new weekly releases, there's always something fresh to try. And those daily boosts, next level. Even my free time feels like Valhalla. So when life feels like a battle, kick up your feet, have some fun, and let's Chumba.
Sponsored by BGW Group. No purchase necessary. See terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Must be over 21 and present in the state where it's legal to play.
Get ready for PGA Tour champions to return to Hammock Beach Golf Resort and Spa for the 2026 Constellation Furyk and Friends, October 9th to 11th.
Hey everyone, this is Jim Furyk. Join us this fall for world-class golf, incredible food, live music, and an unforgettable weekend on the iconic Ocean Course.
Plus, don't miss country music star Billy Currington live at the Furyk Foundation concert on Friday, October 9th. For tickets and info, visit ConstellationFurykandFriends.com.
Overheard at the Hard Rock Bet Party. Wait, is that Ronaldinho? Ronaldinho, you think Brazil will win it all this summer?
Claro que sí. Can I just say, you're my favorite player, ever.
Bet all of soccer's biggest matches this summer on Hard Rock Bet. And keep your cool in case you run into Ronaldinho. Download the Hard Rock Bet app and back your country. Roll with us. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
From the tee to the green and everywhere in between. Join Dan, Jeff, and PGA Pros for Brunch with the Tour. Teed up by Clearwater Irrigation and North Florida Medical Centers. Tuesday morning at 8:30 on 1010XL.
Kicking here, or maybe you should call me Dreamfinders Danny. Look what Dreamfinders is doing again, an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down the rate and get in the game. You heard me right, a 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Matt and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars, to trucks, to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
no better time than now to buy your football season parking pass from Tailgaters. Complete with on-site restaurant, indoor restrooms, and all-day security. Tailgaters parking selling out. Log on to tailgatorsparking.com today.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's New York Pizza. If dinner seems expensive, come grab a pizza that's hot, fresh, and affordable. Feed the whole family without spending a ton. Tony D's New York Pizza. Easy, quick, and always a good call.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about letting things roll off of your back. So often we can make big deals out of things that are not really big deals. We can allow them to steal the joy of our day. But let me remind you that don't allow anyone or anything to steal the joy of today. Go out today not letting little things steal the big things that God has in store for you.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
We're going to wrap up our NFC South preview this week. Coming up in less than 10 minutes or so, my buddy Mike Kay of the Charlotte Observer to talk about Devin Lloyd's new home, the Carolina Panthers. Quickly, the Open Championship going on at Royal Birkdale. If you had Jackson Suber and Daniel Brown as your top two heading into this week, congratulations after their first round performances of 5 under and 4 under, respectfully. There's some names, right, that are within striking distance. DeChambeau, 2 shots off the lead. Francisco Molinari, 2 shots off the lead. You got Henrik Stenson, 3 shots off the lead. Cameron Young. There's Scotty Scheffler as well. So a bunch of guys are bunched up in the 1 under, 2 under, 3 under range. But right now, Jackson Suber, 5 under. He is 115th in the current PGA Tour rankings, yet he is your solo leader right now of the Open Championship after posting a 5 under round, which at Royal Birkdale is a pretty good round. Absolutely no question about that. Coming up, we'll get in more of the NFL. Again, our NFC South preview continues in less than 10 minutes, talking Carolina Panthers, a little Jaguar talk as well. Glad you're with us. Till 8 o'clock, it's Hacker After Dark.
Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, official dental partner of the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
I'm local attorney Rick Alexander. In my 30 years practicing law, I've learned you never want to choose money over health. It's always a bad deal. Unfortunately, when someone screws up and you get hurt, that choice is gone. Your only choice is whether you face the future with a lawyer or without one. If you're hurt because somebody screwed up, call me at the practice. The Alexander Law Practice, 904-400-6600 or alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
E.T. here for Encore Research, and this summer, discover the power of research. Clinical studies are helping researchers find better ways to prevent, diagnose, and treat disease. And community members like you make it all possible. Your participation could help drive the next generation of healthcare discoveries. Find out how you can make a difference at EncoreDocs.com. Research moves forward because of volunteers like you. Let's build a healthier Jacksonville together.
Imagine this, you and your buddies outside enjoying the warm weather. The grill is fired up, steaks are sizzling, drinks in hand, and you're all hanging out around your brand new outdoor kitchen. CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living can make it happen. From custom outdoor kitchens to fireplaces, fire pits, and more. They bring your backyard dreams to life. You dream it, they build it. Visit CSSFireplaces.com and make your backyard the place everyone wants to be this season.
The mosquitoes are out in full force. Before they ruin another cookout or pool day, call the experts at Royal Pest Services. Their mosquito and outdoor pest treatments target mosquitoes, gnats, and other nuisance bugs so you can enjoy your backyard. Royal Pest Services. Take back your yard.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal, what's the matter? I came right over.
It's my water, Jason. Smell this.
Yeesh.
That came out of my tap, Jason. I'm worried there's a lot more in there than just H2 and O.
Well, yeah. In Jacksonville, we have some of the hardest water in Florida. There's calcium carbonate in there and magnesium sulfate and...
I'm sorry, calcium... what now?
It's the same stuff that makes those cool stalactites in caves.
Well, it's making my shower all powdery, my tap's all crusty, and caves make me claustrophobic.
Put on these sunglasses. Whoa. Call Bueller Air and Plumbing. And our water treatment experts will do a free water quality test. We'll check for minerals, bacteria, anything that might make your water smelly or damage your plumbing or appliances.
And if it's bad, you can fix it?
Your glasses will come out cleaner, your shampoo will lather better.
I like a good lather, Jason. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing a lawyer, but getting some guy who just watches courtroom dramas.
How does the defendant plead?
Guilty.
Wait, what?
Also, objection.
You object to what?
Erroneous.
Counsel, approach the bench.
Hey, can I get a whack at the gavel?
You wouldn't settle for just any lawyer, so don't settle for just any insurance. Get the real deal with State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Thank you, Jacksonville Magazine readers, for voting Dan the Media Mogul Hicken Best Sports Talk Host. Jaguars Today's Mike Dempsey was a close runner-up. And thanks for voting The Drill with Dan and Jeff Prosser Best Morning Show Radio Team. 1010XL is truly honored.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
Now, the golden moment is the Jaguar offseason basically over. I start a little vacation beginning tomorrow. I come back Monday night, July the 27th, and it will be training camp week. The Jaguars will be on the field Wednesday, July 29th for their first training camp practice of the year. Certainly looking forward to that. An interesting offseason, no question, but an offseason that is almost now officially in the books as we are less than 2 weeks away until Jaguar training camp. With that, let's round out our NFC South preview. We've already made stops this week in Tampa, in New Orleans, and in Atlanta. We'll finish with the defending division champion, NFC South winners, the Carolina Panthers, Devin Lloyd's new location. Mike Kay of the Charlotte Observer. Let's talk Bryce Young. Let's talk Devin Lloyd. And let's talk where Carolina is trying to repeat as NFC South champion. That's next as division number 7. We wrap up. Carolina is our 28th team. We've broken down. All that's left is the AFC South. We'll do that Jaguar training camp week. Carolina Panthers, Mike Kay, Charlotte Observer next. Hacker After Dark till 8 o'clock right here on 1010XL.
Live play-by-play sports were made for radio.
Well, there is advertising worth the price of admission.
And 1010XL was made for you.
The birth of a child is a time of joy, but when complications during delivery lead to injury or death, families are left with lifelong problems. If you believe a medical mistake contributed to a birth injury, protect yourself and your family by understanding your legal options. Founded in Jacksonville, Edwards & Raggets helps families evaluate medical negligence claims. No fees unless you recover damages. Call 904-INJURED or visit 904injured.com.
Edwards & Raggets, offices Jacksonville.
Mike Dempsey. If you're thinking about a bathroom upgrade, maybe turning that old tub into a safer walk-in shower, check out 5 Star Bath Solutions. I shopped around, talked to several companies, and I chose 5 Star because their customer service was simply incredible. Responsive, honest, upfront about the entire project, and their pricing was even better than expected. When you're ready for a fresh look, better comfort, and a bathroom space you'll love using every day, schedule your free consultation at 5starbathsolutions.com and get the 5-star experience.
games. Catch the sights and sounds of the great outdoors from anywhere in the city. Go hunting and fishing with Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Favor, and Captain Kirk Walls on the Nimnit Outdoors Show every Saturday morning from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Summertime is here, and that means it's grilling season. Now, before you overpay at the big box stores, make a stop at Houston's Meat Company on Main Street in Jacksonville. For more than 50 years, Houston's has been Jacksonville's local butcher shop, serving up quality meats, incredible prices, and the kind of service you just can't find at the grocery chain. Steaks, burgers, chicken, ribs, whatever's on the grill this weekend, Houston's has you covered. Shop local, grill better. Follow Houston's Meats on social for updated weekly specials. How wide is home plate in baseball?
Southern Oak Insurance is proud to continue offering coverage statewide. Financial stability makes Southern Oak Insurance a wise choice for your homeowner's insurance needs. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The home plate in baseball is a generous 17 inches wide, although most major league pitchers would think otherwise.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Living on Amelia Island, having fun in Fernandina Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mokama Beer Company. With a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect pilsners and lagers, matching memories and some Mokama magic is what it's all about. Mokama Beer Company in Fernandina Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mokama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors. It's time to get your kid in the game with I-9 Sports. From North Jacksonville to Fleming Island, Neptune Beach to Orange Park. I-9 Sports makes it convenient for you just one day per week. Fall and winter registration open right now at I-9 Sports. Enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
1010XL is a proud supporter of the Alive Credit Union Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament, July 9th through 18th. Fish for fun and prizes and support Jacksonville Marine Charities. Learn more at kingfishtournament.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we are glad you are with us. One division per week leading up to the start of Jaguar training camp at the end of the month. This week, it's all about the NFC South. We will make stops in Tampa, in Atlanta, and in New Orleans. But right now, it's all about the defending division champion, Carolina Panthers. Of course, that is the new home of former Jaguar linebacker Devin Lloyd. Mike Kay of the Charlotte Observer is our guy when it comes to Carolina, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Mike, how you doing?
I'm well, Hack. How you doing?
Hey, Mike, we're good. Thank you so much for the time. Defending NFC South champion. If I would have told you that a year ago, the Panthers were going to go on to win the NFC South in 2025 at the beginning of last year, what would you have said?
I probably would have said that they played over their skis and some division rivals had some pretty major injuries, which is inevitably what happened. I thought they overachieved last year in a lot of ways. They have, under Dave Canales, they've kind of overperformed projections in each of the past few years. And I think what you're seeing with this team is there's a really good raw belief. And when I think you have a good culture, you're able to sustain and play over your talent level because of the connective tissue of everything and the belief and the ability to communicate and that kind of supersedes talent in some situations. Obviously, if you would have said that they were going to win the division after that Week 1 loss to Jacksonville, I would have been very surprised. But I think they kind of rallied around each other, and that's what led to their success, even though they moonwalked into the playoffs.
Well, clearly, Bryce Young answered a lot of questions last year. I mean, I don't know if we were to the bust label yet, but people were starting to wonder, particularly when he got benched at the end of 24. He comes out last year, plays very, very well, particularly towards the end of the season. I mean, Bryce Young has cemented himself as Carolina's long-term starter without question.
Well, I think he's their long-term starter right now. And I think it's a matter of, can he put everything together that he kind of has shown streaks of throughout in the first 2 years that he's been with Canales. You know, he closed out 2024 pretty strong. 2025 had a lot more up and downs, but the ups were significantly better than anything else he had done. I mean, if he got to play Atlanta 17 times a year, he'd be considered an all-pro. But he needs to show more consistency. He needs to get them off to better starts. He's known as like the comeback kid because he has put together so many game-winning drives and game-tying drives and so on and so forth. But when they go in at halftime, they're either up by 3 or down by 3. A lot of one-score games. He needs to be able to start fast and get this thing moving because it's like a relief pitcher coming in a 1-0 game in the 6th. You're constantly under pressure, and it's taxing for the defense.
Mike Kay of the Charlotte Observer talking Carolina Panthers was us as our NFC South preview continues. Mike, you look at the talent surrounding Bryce Young coming into this year, and it's pretty good, right? We know what Chuba Hubbard did last year. Tet McMillan, I thought, had a fantastic rookie campaign. You combine him with Jalen Coker. I still like Xavier Legette. There's got to be a lot of optimism about the Panther skill position.
Well, I think when you have a young group like they do, the upside is what you kind of focus on. I think Jalen Coker is a guy who, when he's been healthy, has performed very, very well. And the problem is he just hasn't stayed on the field. They kind of have the feel of the 2015 Allen Robinson, Allen Hurns pairing with T-Mac and Coker. If you remember, those guys both went off for over 1,000 yards, produced a ton of touchdowns. Hurns actually is the only precedent really for the contract extension that Coker got earlier this offseason. So they feel good about those two guys. The tight end group is underwhelming on paper, but they all can play multiple spots. They can play the F, they can play the Y. Most of them can block. If Jatavian Sanders can kind of catch on like they thought he would, you could play 11 personnel, but with a tight end involved. So I think they feel good about their group. It really hinders on, can Chuba Hubbard bounce back from last year, and can Jonathan Brooks finally show off what he is 2 years after being selected in the second round?
I certainly want to talk about Devin Lloyd with you here in a moment, but did I see that another former Jaguar, Luke Fortner, might be battling for that starting center spot in Carolina?
Not just battling, I think it's his job to lose. They were impressed by what he did the second half of the season with the Saints. He's very smart, as you know. And they have an early bye week. So his competition is Sam Peck, the 5th-round pick, who probably should have been drafted in the 3rd round. And Nick Samac, who's kind of a journeyman who was with them last year. He was the backup center. Those guys are going to need to step up at some point, but I think having Fortner during the first month of the season be your starter, especially with how important of a year this is for Bryce Young and Dave Canales, a guy who knows what he's doing, can call protections, is communicative. Like, I think that's important. And then you get to the early bye week in week 5 and you can reassess. But I think Fortner's in the driver's seat to be the starting center this year.
I was always a fan of Luke Fortner. He always was really good to me in the Jaguar locker room with interviews and such. So I'm certainly rooting for him now with that new start there in Carolina. Let's get to the other former Jaguar that's there. Big money spent for Devin Lloyd. Certainly very bittersweet. People in Jacksonville, including myself, were big Devin Lloyd fans, would have loved to see him come back. Obviously, the finances didn't make sense here in Jacksonville. What is Carolina expecting to get out of Devin Lloyd?
Well, I think we talked about culture earlier, and having talked to a bunch of different people within the organization, he fits their culture to a T. He's a guy who can be dynamic not only as a player, but in the nervous system of the Panthers locker room. And I think he's a guy that really sharpens their pass coverage because linebackers have struggled mightily over the last 3 years. It's been arguably the worst position group for an NFL defense over the last 3 years under Ejiro Evero. And I think when you have somebody who can take the ball away, who is quick to spots, who can play in coverage, but who can also blitz, which is really, really important in this Vic Fangio-esque system, like that can be a tool that sharpens everybody else. I mean, I think part of their struggle has been that Trevin Wallace, their 2-year starter and inside linebackers, played next to kind of mediocre talent, and he's had to be the guy. I think he's more of a complementary piece than a true bona fide alpha starter, and that's what I think Lloyd is, and I think that benefits them. During the owners' meetings in Arizona, I went around, talked to Liam Cohen, talked to Robert Saleh, talked to some other coaches about how big of an impact Devin Lloyd can make, and you have to scheme for him because he's so good at taking the ball away and blitzing.
He was absolutely phenomenal down here in Anthony Campanile's scheme last year, but that wasn't even the biggest money that Carolina spent on a free agent defensive player, as Jalen Phillips really hit the bank there in Charlotte, the former Miami Hurricane star. What are they expecting to get out of Jalen Phillips?
Well, he's going to be what you would call a force multiplier. He's not a guy who's going to put up outrageous sack numbers. That's just not his game. But he's a pressure machine, and he's a guy who can play the strong side role in an Ejiro Evero defense. There are like 6 guys that can truly fit into that role where you can do literally everything: drop in coverage, pass rush, set the edge. Literally, he has to do everything that a defender has to do as a strong side edge in that defense. And that's why they overpaid for him, because he was the guy that was the most natural fit for that position. When that position's doing well, you can do really special things. And they also saw him do it in Vic Fangio's defense, which this was based off of in Philly and in Miami earlier in his career. So they want to see him impact the game around. I talked about Devin Lloyd sharpening other tools. Well, you got Nick Scorton on the weak side, who is a phenomenal run defender at 21, but last year showed some really good shots as a pass rusher. I think the success will be measured by what Nick Scorton does this year, what Quincy Umanmielen does this year, how much Derek Brown gets pressure and clean up sacks. Like, they're expecting Phillips to bring in, 15 to 20 sacks. He just might not play them.
Final moments, Mike Kaye of the Charlotte Observer. Mike, you look at that Carolina defense on paper, and you just listed some guys. Derek Brown. I was always a fan of Bobby Brown from his college days at A&M. He mentioned Scorton. They go out, bring in Lloyd and Phillips. Oh, by the way, they still got J.C. Horn. They paid big money for Moehrig last year. I mean, good grief, man. They've invested a ton on the defensive side of the ball in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think Ejiro Evero got kind of a rough hand the first 2 years here, and since then they have really invested in his group, and you've seen improvement. Like, they were the worst defense in the league in 2024 with Derek Brown limited to a game and injuries everywhere, and they just weren't talented. And I think they came back last year, improved across the board mightily. Because of the assets they brought in there. I think Nick Scorton's the most important draft pick they've made, including Tetairoa McMillan, since Bryce Young. Like, if Scorton can become like a 12-sack player, I think he could be a he's only 21. He doesn't turn 22 until September or October. So I think he's really important. And I think for that defense, when you have guys in Derek Brown and J.C. Horn, who are not only leaders on the field, but off the field and are Pro Bowl level players, I think having guys like Phillips and Lloyd and having like a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro at every level of the defense is extremely important.
Mike, final question. I look at the NFC South very similar to the AFC South. It wasn't long ago that those two divisions were considered to be the worst in football. And then you look at Jacksonville, obviously Houston, Tennessee appears to be getting better. We'll see about Indianapolis. Same thing in the NFC. I mean, the the South was not a good division, as you know. But now all of a sudden, Tampa's obviously still pretty good. Atlanta looks like they're getting better with Stefanski. I love what Carolina has done, and even New Orleans is making some strides. How do you feel where the Panthers are coming into the division here in 2026?
Well, to me, the 2026 NFC South is very similar to the 2010s NFC West, where teams just are beating the crap out of each other. And it's like, yeah, their records are kind of middling or mediocre, but it's because everybody just beats up on each other. I think last year everybody was 3-3 against each other, which is unreal. So it's an extremely competitive division internally. So it's a matter of winning the games you can win outside the division and trying to win as many games as you can in the division, and that'll put you in the right spot. And that's inevitably what the Panthers did with an 8-9 record. So I think with the way that this division's shaking up, I agree with you. Like, I love the fit of Stefanski with Drake London and Bijan Robinson and bringing in Bill Callahan to coach the offensive line. Like, I love that fit. I don't really love their moves or their roster, but I think they're intriguing. The Saints seem to have some hope, but they're old and kind of mediocre in a lot of spots. Tampa Bay just seems like a team that's going to regress because their coaching hasn't evolved. They're constantly going through new coaches. And, you know, Mike Evans showed how much faith he had in them after spending his entire career there and then going to San Francisco. So I think this is a division. It's anybody's division, but I really like the Panthers' hopes. I think they finish no worse than second in the division.
Yeah, the Carolina Panthers and the Jaguars, arguably the two biggest surprise division winners last year. Both will be looking to repeat in 2026. Mike Kaye of the Charlotte Observer, formerly back here at First Coast News when he covered the Jaguars about a decade or so ago. Mike, thank you always for the time. We'll do it again soon, pal.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you to Mike Kaye of the Charlotte Observer for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark to talk Carolina Panthers and their offseason. Of course, the new home of Devin Lloyd, the defending NFC South champion. Carolina Panthers, they won that division last year at 8-9, and you got to wonder if that division's going to go kind of the similar way this year. I think a lot of people think Carolina, Atlanta, maybe Tampa Bay are all going to be in that 8-9, maybe 10 win range, probably not more than that. So you got to think 8-9, 9-8, may again win that NFC South. But that does wrap up our NFC South preview. We've made stops in Tampa, in New Orleans, in Atlanta, and tonight in Charlotte. And that's now 7 of the 8 divisions, 1 division per week leading up to the start of Jaguar training camp. We have hit 28 out of the 32 teams. The last division, of course, is the AFC South. I'm on vacation next week. Jaguar training camp begins on the 29th of July, so we will go to Houston, Indianapolis, and Tennessee the week of Jaguar training camp, and that will round out our 2026 NFL division previews. So we certainly spent some time on that. Spent some time in the world of college football, talking Florida, Florida State, and more as the Media Days circuit is now in full swing with the ACC kickoff going on up in Charlotte and the SEC Media Days going on next week down in Tampa. And also spent some time on the Orlando Magic, but the broadcasting side, as I was fortunate enough to have a conversation earlier this evening with David Steele, 37 years behind the microphone on the Orlando Magic television and radio side. David announced his retirement on Tuesday this week. Really enjoyed the conversation with David Steele, one of the greats in the NBA broadcasting field that, again, has announced his retirement from the Orlando Magic. Well, that will just about do it. Very busy Thursday night edition of Hacker After Dark. A little Hacker After Dark before dark, in for Rick Ballou here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. And we do have a ton of people to thank. Again, thank you to Mike Kay of the Charlotte Observer, rounding out our NFC South preview. Thank you to Phil Steele, he of the Phil Steele preseason college football magazine. Always enjoy the conversation with Phil this time of year. And again, David Steele, no relation. I don't know if the last time we've had two Steeles on the show, both Phil Steele and then David Steele. David of the Orlando Magic broadcast, 37 years in the profession with Orlando as an NBA broadcast play-by-play man who announced his retirement earlier this week. This will be the last show for us for a while. One more vacation. I will be gone tomorrow and next week, and then I will return on Monday, July the 27th, when training camp will be here. Hard to believe the Jaguars will be on the field on Wednesday, July 29th, so I'm looking forward to a little getaway, but then certainly looking forward to getting back to when training camp kicks off here in Jacksonville. Jared Justice was your producer tonight. Jared, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green, and again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Thursday evening with us and your entire week with us here on Hacker After Dark. As we always tell you, and we cannot possibly tell you enough how much we absolutely appreciate it. So for all of us here on HAD, have a terrific remainder of your Thursday evening, and I will talk to you again on Monday, July the 27th, as we will be on the doorstep of Jaguar training camp. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
Rick Ballou here. DraftKings is live in all 50 states. Yes, that means you, Florida. The Cup is down to its final matches. One trophy, one champion. DraftKings has you covered for every single one. The DraftKings app is now live in Florida, so whether you're catching the early kickoff before work or the late match at the bar, you are in on every minute, every match, every moment, all in one app right here in Florida, the world's biggest stage in the palm of your hand. New DraftKings customers sign up with the code 1010XL, spend $5 to get $200 in total rewards over 21 days. That's code 1010XL in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click to claim, issued in non-withdrawable. Predictions dollars that expire in 1 year, ends July 19th. Terms DKNG.co/predictions promo.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast Orthopedic Specialists for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast Orthopedic Specialists take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Here's some advice I've learned over the years. The best time to fix something around your house is before it forces you to. Don't wait until your plumbing fails.